another runner in the night, blinded by the light, wrapped up like a deuce, another runner in the night.
So, Blindness, a book. I really like this book. It's cool, you know. I love that you can read like a whole page and there's like one period. It's just like word, 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 comma, word, comma, word, 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 comma, word, comma, word, comma, blah, 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 blah. So it's kind of, the story's told a little bit, or the writing style is kind of told on how people talk. At least me, like I don't always just like write in sentences, or when I talk, I don't usually talk in sentences and paragraphs. I usually just ramble thoughts and stuff, and that's kind of what this book is about, is just thoughts and stuff. No people's names or no people's cities, so I mean this book can really be told at any point in time, in any city in the world, with any kind of people. So, and there's not one mention of a person's name, and the book is basically a character-driven book, so it's kind of cool in that way. Been kind of on a theme, like the last 3 or 4 books I've read, besides The Ordinary People, are all about like end of the world type things. So I love that kind of stuff, so that works good. With this book, I really got right into it. Right from the very beginning, I was hooked and read it. I loved it. I love the graphic nature of it, like especially when they're in the mental asylum and there's like so many pages talking about how there's just disgusting poop everywhere, you know, and then there's like murders and that horrible raping part. I'm not saying I like that stuff, but I like when I read about that stuff, because I don't like when stuff is like edited and all wussy. So I really like that aspect of this book. So I really was into it. The book, you know, pretty much kind of sums up. I call it a cross in between like The Stand, a Stephen King book, and The Lord of the Flies, which is the last book we just read, where it's kind of like takes you out of the normal. It's still the same kind of people. It just takes it and puts them in extraordinary kind of crazy circumstances, and it's just kind of showing how human nature reacts with each other and like what you do when you're put into that situation. In this case, every single person is blind except one person, and stuff starts to happen. So I really liked the first 3/4 of this book. Once again, this book had like I had a problem with the ending of this book, and I hated the ending of the book, dude. It was like the book's going really good. Spoiler if you haven't read this book, so stop watching now. But it ends with them starting, you know, our people starting to get their eyesight back, and then it's the end. So I hated that. It was just such a, like, to me, like I explained, it's like you're right, the writer or whatever, author's writing this book, great story, great storyline, and then he's like, okay, now I need to end it. So let's end it with them getting their eyesight back, and, you know, the end. It was just such a, not a very good way that I think that they ended it. And I don't know if that's my nature. I would have rather had, like, I didn't want, like, a happy ending. I didn't want them ever to get their sight back. I wanted to see what would happen. That's what made this story so interesting. By giving them their sight back, it's almost like a cop-out. I don't know. However, I did at the end of this book find out that his next book is called Seeing, and this is called Blindness, so I think that might be a sequel to, you know, maybe now all of our characters can see and how they're going to deal with this, which would be pretty interesting, being it that, you know, barely any people were alive anymore, and, you know, a lot of bad things went down, and death, and there's a lot of poop out there and stuff. So overall, great book. Out of the 3 books now that we've read, I would rank this the best book we've read so far. So, good pick. I really like the author's way of writing. Again, that to me made this book a real easy read. It's the longest book we read so far, but to me it was so easy to read because there was no sentences. It kind of read as people's thoughts rather than writing as a writing style. So I'm sure people who love English and grammar, that kind of stuff really bothers them. But for me, it read like thoughts read. So awesome. Sweetness and Totally Blinded by the Light. You know, I wish I had that song. Blinded by the light, wrapped up in the douche of your moment of a night. Because that would be sweet, but I don't. So, anyways, I'll see you later.